G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. It's Eno here from Fantasy Take TV. Today we're going to go through some hot topics again, continue that series I sort of started last week. Going to be some pivotal points, I guess, with upgrade season coming up now. So thought I'd do just a few thoughts on some players that people should be trading in, trading out, of course, some rookies. There's a couple of injuries too I'll go over, but mainly just the main talking points, and probably just go through the most traded in and traded out players and a few thoughts on those, and then just go back to my team at the end and what I'm thinking with trades and captaincy for this week. So sort of a weekly roundup, I guess. Obviously the first sort of point of call and the video on Monday, you're sort of not always set on what you're doing, but I think for the most part I was pretty close to what I was thinking of doing. But yeah, we'll go through that at the end. Obviously, this is where I'm sitting at the moment. You would have probably already seen that 29 trades, and it's 4 boosts, but yeah, pretty happy with where the team's at. Could be better. I mean, you look at the rank, like, I'm 1,000th. What is it? Basically 11,000 points. I'm already 700 points behind the leader, like, and that's a 1,000th to first. So big catching up job to do to this fella here, young Kalen, who had the 50th rank basically last week and shot himself. I think he was already first, a bit further in. Obviously, he's nailed Liam Baker. Picks like that can really help you. I think this was DeGoey before he traded to Tim Kelly to sort of get out of that late out. English and Grundy is something I don't think there's many of, so maybe he went Marshall to Grundy to get some cash. I'm not too sure, but obviously there's going to have to be a trade spent there. But yeah, all around pretty good teams. Look, it's a lot of points early to catch up on, but we're going to give it a go. It's definitely possible. It's got to absolutely know what we're going to do. So I'll go firstly to some traded out players. CMAC, not much to really say. I mean, unfortunate with the sub, but we sort of knew that last week and before he was playing. So I traded him out ahead of that last week, knowing that this could happen and he could drop a low score with the sub game. And look, he got more time than I would have thought. Half time with the Wingard injury, but he still only scored 13 and just absolutely killed his cash gen. So unfortunate, but yeah, totally fine with trading him out this week. Jinby, a little bit harder because he's looking like he might play just due to West Coast being in complete shambles again and not due to any fault of their own, but well, maybe some with some injuries and their management there. But 15, 16 injuries or something on the list. Only 2 or 3 players in the waffle were AFL listed and they lost by like 180 points. So that affects, AFL affects just the whole list. It's just completely shelled out at the moment. And so through that, Jimby might just have to play, even if he's, Simo really wants to rest him, he might just have to keep playing him, and maybe they just keep subbing him to give him that sort of rest, or maybe play him as the sub. So yes, he's got great scoring potential and he's shown that, but his break even's now up to 80 because of it, and it might take a couple of weeks to reset his cash gen. So you could wait around for that. If you can do your upgrades without trading him out, I would do it. Baker, similar. Like, if you want to hold him, fair, fine. If you can do your upgrades without trading him out, but I think a lot of us are in the boat where he's just the one to go. He's kind of only had that one spike score, right, with a 95, where basically 17 kicks that game. They're all inside 50, and they're all, were good points. But since then, it hasn't really happened, or before and since. So, yeah, he's only averaging like 45, 50 outside of that. So I don't think there's too much qualm with me getting rid of him. But if you can, again, do your upgrades without doing so, sure, go for it. Hold on to him and see if you can fluke another high score. Kama, obviously suspended for 3 weeks. Yep, find a trade. Unfortunately, you didn't get more out of him than you could have. 25 break even. You're probably going to get that 150 out of him at some point, but I don't think there's really any. I mean, obviously you can hold until there's a better option, say if you're trading others out for money reasons, but even when he's unsuspended, it might be hard to get back in. Membry's back, and then probably around then Max King's back. So, a bit unfortunate. Tom Green, now I'm totally perplexed by this. 1 week suspension. Why the hell would you be trading out a guy that, is fine to sit at M7, M8 until your team's finished? And that's when you'd be trading him out. He's not injured. He's getting bulk CBAs. He's leading at the Giants. And he's just, disposals, one amongst the highest in the league. Now, yes, his clangers, I think, are the highest in the league as well. But that's obviously not ideal. But disposals wise, I think he's top 32 a game, like 33 a game. Yes, clangers are up there, and they're about 5 or 6 a game, I think. So, he's leading the league, I think, just ahead of Ollie Wine. So, they're at 6 a game. They'll lower at some point. It is a little bit frustrating that he's not scoring high, since sort of round one. But if at worst he goes 100 from here, I'm holding on to that and making the adjustment and switch at the buy time. I'm not trading him now because of a 1 week suspension. That's just silly, in my opinion. So, hold on to him if you can. Maybe, look, if your bench is completely dead and there's all donuts there and you're going to cop one, then maybe think about it. But, wouldn't be trading him. Chandler's one that, I'll probably be trading this week, but it is really annoying, I guess. Someone I want to hold on to because I think there's a lot more money in him, or maybe not a lot, but there's a chance of being a lot. So, I think he's going to make sort of 40, 50K more, probably guaranteed, I want to say. I only see him not doing that if he's dropped for whatever reason. So, he's going to get to 300, I think. He can, he doesn't have to do 70s. He might just have another spike score there, right, that helps him over that next little period to get up there. But again, he's got a bit of money in him now. He's made his money, 150, and it's people's only way to get to it, to like a toque, or, not even just a toque. Some people are struggling for money where they have no bank and it's just enough to get them to, a Parrish or a Sinclair type. So, I'm okay with trading him. If he goes big in one of the next upcoming games, it'll hurt. But I think you got to get in the mindset of, you're just upgrading, you're getting rookies off the field. That's what you want to be doing. So Alwyn, very weird to just be trading him out now. When he's probably back after a rest. If you wanted to trade him, that would have been last week. Now I'd be holding him and milking him a bit more because his break even is flat zero. So, he's got more money in him. He can get to 250 if he just keeps playing. It might be a bit more of a slower burn because he's a small forward and whatnot. But Essendon are playing all right. So if he gets back in the team, there could be a decent score in there for him somewhere. But probably just 50s. McKenna is a very weird one too. I mean, look, I know I've said a lot of these guys are okay to go if you might want to make an upgrade, but he has a 25 break even, and he has shown three, I guess, good scores, a 90, a 70, and an 80. So, it was a bit disappointing on the weekend, the 55, but that was basically through 3 quarters. He was donuts at quarter time, so I think he has some more 70s and 80s in him and could make quite a bit more money. So, I'll be holding on to him, and they do have a decent draw, actually, Giants in Canberra, I think, and then Freo at home. Carlton at the moment are in a bit of a patch, average patch of form, so I'd be holding on. Rampy, you should never have owned, and then Doc, you should already have traded out. So, just my thoughts there. And then I'll do some thoughts on the most trade-in plays, but others as well that people are looking at. So, Matty Roberts, I think, pretty much close to a lock coming into everyone's side this week, provided he's picked. I put a poll up on the FTTV account on Twitter this morning, and I sort of said, assuming most coaches are already grabbing Roberts, which I think if he's picked, that'll be the case. It's sort of the next one, and if you're doing a boost, and even if you're not, and just double downgrading, what's the next one you're going? Is it Dylan Williams? Is it Matty Johnson? Or is it Seamus Mitchell? And interested to see that Seamus Mitchell's the second most traded in here, in SuperCoach, but a lot of people voting for this went with Dylan Williams with 36%. So Mitchell, I'm surprised, was still the second at 27%, and then Matty Johnson at 22%. So I think it's pretty clear here. You leave Seamus Mitchell to next week. It's not a great patch of one-game rookies that debuted last week, looking like options next week. Was Wagner there? Started the game poorly, but I think there was quotes from JL saying he's going to give him a go, for a few games, so hopefully he can improve. Stam Sturt's the other one from Freo as well, but not a great role. And there, he might be tied to the return of sort of Switkowski, Taberner, and Fife. Like if they all come back in the next 3 or 4 weeks, Sturt is probably gone. And then there's like Will Gould, who came out of nowhere, finally played his first game, but it was as a sub. He got about half a game, and then there's doubts on him even playing as well. Past there, if all the defenders come back in the next 2 or 3 weeks, he'd likely be gone as well. So, and he wasn't even in the team to begin with. He was a sub. So, that just tells me just leave Seamus Mitchell till next week. I don't know why you would be grabbing him this week when there's Dylan Williams, there's Matty Johnson at similar price that you can get in, provided they're named this week, and leave Seamus Mitchell as an option next week, because you're probably going to need another 2 downgrades next week if you want to boost and make another upgrade. So I'd be definitely leaving him till next week, and then the call is obviously between Dylan Williams and Matty Johnson. So, reading a bit of board and talking to some port, like, it's a bit mixed. People think that he'll be fine, and other guys like, not obviously the same position, but guys like Willie Rioli, Lysette, all these guys should be out of the team and bringing in some other guys from the twos. So if he survives a bit of a, maybe if there's 3 or 4 changes with Jonas coming back in, what they do with the ruck, maybe Georgiadis comes in and they restructure. He's pretty much, to me, really just tied to Riley Bonner. So if he can stay in the team with Jonas and some others coming in and Bonner staying out, I'll be a bit confident, or more confident, I guess, in going him. Obviously, you can't tell the future. He'd have to keep playing well, really, I think. You'd have to just play his role. Whereas I think Matty Johnson might have better job security than him, because I think he probably stays in the team sort of no matter what, but it's more the role in the team, right? Like, he could just be playing forward, which he did for basically 2.5, 3 quarters last week after Brody came on. And before that, really, it was only a bit of wing time. So I think he only got mid-time in the games he was subbed on in the fourth quarter. Sort of just, obviously, fresh legs, inject him in the fourth quarter, place in midfield. I think one of them was the derby, which was dead anyway at that point. So he's not really going to get some time in there. Hopefully, Jago Mira gets dropped. He can come in, stay in, and just hopefully isn't the sub again. So I'm making the call there is a big decision. Now I'm leaning Dylan Williams, but I could, in a couple of days, be leaning Matty Johnson, depending on the team. So they're my thoughts there with the rookies. Jordan Dawson, I don't know why you'd be going him now at 655. Just seems to be too much. Got away from you. The points that he's already scored are gone, the 320 or whatever it is in the last couple of weeks. You just now got to look at finding value, because if you bring in a Dawson now at 655, I'm sure that's going to kill you for your next week upgrade, the one after that. 50k, 55k down to Stewart, that could be very, very helpful towards your next upgrade. So it's hard to say. It's hard to steer clear of the third highest scoring player in SuperCoach up until this point, but I would be doing it, unfortunately. And he's going to cop some attention, as an owner. As a guy, you saw him cop attention last year, even before he was in this sort of form in the midfield. He has to at some point, and I think that's not too far away. Jack Zeeble is an interesting one, because he's been going, at about 100 for 5 rounds now. But Aaron Hall is said to be not too far away, according to Clarko. I personally don't think there's a reason for him to come into the team. But if that's true and that does come about, it's always sort of just there as a doubt. And I don't think Zeebel's, shooting the lights out where he's a must trade in at this price. You've sort of missed the bargain that people got at 350. If he goes okay the next few weeks and it all looks fine and rosy and he's still got the role and Hall hasn't come into the team, you'll probably be only looking at him at sort of 470, 480k, right? And then you can get on there if you wanted a player around that price point. So I'd be steering clear for now and seeing what happens. Spoke about Matty Johnson. Tuke Miller, obviously the biggest sort of target that people are bringing in this week in the midfield anyway. Obviously the numbers don't say that, but I think amongst sort of in the Discord and the community is Tuke Miller, and I'm a big head of that. I'm very, very for that, and probably 90% likely to do it myself. So yeah, great draw coming up. It sort of dropped in price enough, 40k to where now, you're getting him at a discount from his starting price. He's sort of building into the season, couple of 120s now, tackling well, and then he gets North, Richmond. Melbourne's actually gone well against in the past, 3 140s in a row, which is, very, very consistent. And then West Coast as well. And look, besides the draw, it's Tuke Miller. He's a hard worker. He's gonna put his body on the line and run from contest to contest, tackle, do all that sort of stuff. My only worry was him and watching him last year was his kicking was really off and his disposal efficiency was very, very down. And I don't think it's still that great this year, but I think it's improved a little bit. And if that gets better, he could push towards 125 sort of average. So, started the year obviously with a little bit of a niggle in preseason, but I think he's built into the season now. It just seems like the right time to jump on. So, all for Touk. Chase Jones, I don't know why you would go him. He might have found a new lease of life in the AFL. It's been a couple of years, or a few years really, for him to come along. It's only been 2 weeks of data. You've missed a price rise because of the stupid sub game. And it's just really weird to bring in a 300k player at this point in the season when it's sort of time to upgrade. And I just don't know why you would sort of head towards there. You're going like up from a rookie like McKenna or whoever you're trading at to get him, Chandler or Gimby. Like, it's like a straight swap from Jinby, and I just don't know why that would make much sense. Yes, a low break even, you sort of, bank or guaranteeing yourself, maybe 50 to 80k, but like past that, would you be surprised if Chase Jones dropped you a 50 next week? I don't think you would, so I wouldn't be going there. Lachie Neale obviously is sort of up against Touk as the sort of premium mid to bring in this week at a similar price. I just have less trust in Neale, given a bit of a slow start that he usually doesn't have, his age, and sort of just how easy of a kill that was for, with North. So I'd be looking towards Touk to do the same against North, going him, playing that fixture, and maybe grabbing Neale later on. Because if you want to grab him, now's the time. 90 break even, he might be going up and up. So, I'd pass on Neale and go Touk. And then Tommy Stewart, I'd be going him for sure over Jordan Dawson. Now, thing to keep an eye on is Ryan Clark might be back in this week for Sydney, and he has tagged him the last couple of times they've played. So, I think tagged him in the grand final, kept him to about 15 touches. And then the time before that, again, sort of blanketed him, I believe, and he's done other tagging roles and other players like Sinclair and whatnot in the past last year. So, if Ryan Clark's in the team, I would steer clear. And then, hopefully as a non-owner, tags him and gets him cheaper again for us to jump on him later. Now, two other big talking points. I'll talk about Adam Sard, who unfortunately for owners and just the timing of SuperCoach, like it's comical really that he's had, I think, 2 missed games in 7 years. No one's really ever looked his way as an option. I know last year some people were sort of interested by him. He went sort of 105 in the end, or was it 102 in the end? Something like that. And then sort of everyone we had great options last year. This year, he sort of backed it up. Doc's been bad. Obviously, Doc got injured, and he's had a really good start to the year. Everyone brings him in and bang, does a hammy. Scored okay in the game for sort of a game they struggled in, and missed, was off for the last 15 minutes with that hamstring tightness, which is now turned into a strain, they're saying, and he's listed at 1 to 2 weeks. So best case scenario, right, he misses the 1 week and comes back next week and you're fine and all is dandy. There is a chance he misses 2, and to be honest, most hammies you miss 3, and if that's the case, it's really going to be disappointing and hard for you to hold him through that, fielding some Cowan scores, or maybe you get in a Mitchell at next week or Chincotta. You could go Chincotta early because he's going to come in and play a similar role, and he's been racking it up in the 2s. He's sort of that more attacking halfbacker compared to a Cowan, so I don't love going early, like especially a first game on a rookie, but you might do that to get similar scoring. And I think Chincotta, judging from what he's doing in the 2s and the type of role he plays, could be a guy that goes 70 plus in the AFL, just due to, he might get some kickouts, but he's sort of a rebounding a halfback flanker. So I don't love that, but I'd be tempted to trade Sard. The hamstring sort of thing worries me a bit, even when he does come back. And is that just in 1 week, or is it 2 or 3? Is the concern. So it's really annoying though, because if you do him out, you're not really making an upgrade, are you, with your other 2 trades? You're probably just going down to a couple of rookies maybe. But I would do that and bank some cash, and then hopefully, if you've got enough, you could do like a double upgrade next week. So see if that's possible, sort of, with your calculations. And who you'd be going to, like Stewart, of course, if he's not, Ryan Clark's not playing. It's a bit of a weird one, right? Because you've got sort of you could just go to a forward, right? You could go to a Zach Butters, bank some cash, move Sheasel and Zeeble up to your defence and go that way. Sinclair's another one there if you like him, but I'll probably steer clear for now and see what happens when Steele's back. And Jake Lloyd, I don't like, even though he started the year pretty well. So they're sort of your options. I'm assuming, I'm not saying I wouldn't go Dawson, right? I wouldn't spend 80k to do that. I'm assuming everyone has Dacos by now. So, and Sicily's the other one, right? I'd wait for him to drop a bit more cash as well. So it is a bit of a hard one with Saad, but it's just unfortunate timing, sort of right at the start of upgrade season to cop that. And there's just not much you can do. Midfielders, as we've already talked about, sort of Touk and Neil. Ruck's the interesting one with Grundy, right? So if Gawn's back this week, I would be keeping Grundy for one more. He's got, I think, a 60 break even or something, so 67. Keep him. Still gets a good matchup with Richmond having no tools whatsoever, pretty much. Samson Ryan and Ben Miller is not a hard matchup for those two. So, yes, his ruck time might drop, but I think he might, Gawn I'm talking about, be eased in if he does come in. And look, great if he doesn't come in, then you definitely hold Grundy, of course, and he's probably a captaincy option. But yeah, if Gawn's in, you're obviously going to have to, I'd keep for this week and then monitor what's sort of happening. And just that's part of the reason I didn't like the pick, because you're going to have to jump off at a point, make a sideways. Well, it's not even, like I assume most Grundy's owners aren't English owners, and to get up to English, you're still going to have to pay almost 100k to do it. Like, that's just part of the reason I bit the bullet back in round 3 or 4, just to get English in, be done with it. If he does go down, you can go down to the ruckman and bank some money, right? Whilst getting his good scoring every week. So that's why I didn't like the Grundy trade too much, but at least he's done really well with scoring for the last couple of weeks. But yeah, it looks like Gawn might be back a bit earlier than expected. So a little frustrating. We've been going 20 minutes now, so I'll quickly just show what I wanted to do with my side, or what I did do, and that was Jinby out, Baker, and Chandler, sort of begrudgingly Chandler. I do want to keep him, as I said before, but he's sort of the only way it makes it work with grabbing Touk. I needed to make 90k on my last sort of rookie downgrade, and I don't really want to trade McKenna a bit early. Wilmot's going to make some money still. The only way to do it with Cam would be to go down to a Chincotta in his first game to make that 90k. Don't love that. Davey, the same, but again, don't love that. And Ferg and Ratagalia have been going well with the back-to-back 80s for Rat, back-to-back 70s for Fergus. And then Samson I've already picked, as sort of ruck cover, but someone that I think can hopefully spike a big game soon and has a break even of 0. So why would he be going? So yeah, it only really makes sense for me to get rid of Chandler to someone like a Dylan Williams, be able to loop him on the Saturday early game, and sort of, if he goes well, obviously take it, but sort of avoid some sort of rookie rule out here in the forward line. Rowson, I'll play for Green. If he's in and say a Perryman stays out, should get some decent mid-time. Otherwise, if I don't like it too much, I'll go Roberts, but obviously have to make the straight fielding call there. And then for VCNC, I've got it right now, assuming that Madden's my only loop, or Green, what you like. Bont into Clary. So English up against Shrek, he's going to get dominated in the hitouts. Can still score very well around the ground, we know, but I'll probably look towards Bont, who can just dominate that Freo midfield. They have no one to match up on him. He's been in really, really good form. And I can see him going big. I think he loves Optus Stadium too, from memory. And has had quite a good few scores there. There's a 150 a couple of years ago against Freo, and then I believe he's had some big ones against West Coast as well in the past. So Bont into Clary. If I have a later loop that's certain, like a Constable or even a Davies, say he's still managed, I'll look to maybe, Touk into Clary, but I think I'm just going to have to stick with the early VC this week and go something like that. So that's what I'm thinking. That's a few hot topics, few key trade-ins, trade-outs, that sort of stuff. Just get my thoughts out there. And if you got any questions of what trades you think or you're thinking of and you want my opinion on, just leave them in the comments below, and I'll get to it when I can. But going to be another good week of footy. So, no Thursday footy, a bit annoying, but obviously some footy over quite a few days still, with the Anzac Day on Tuesday. So, look forward to this round again. Thanks for watching, as always, and we'll catch you on the next one. Cheers. Got the mojo deals, we been tripping like the 80s. Pulling out the coupe at the lot.